Disclaimer: this game contains mature topics such as murder, cannibalism, etc. and swearing. Player discretion is advised. Ashley and Andrew, what have you guys done now? Space advanced text, okay, alright, just remember what I said earlier. Just stick to that and you two will be off the hook in no time. I don't remember what you said earlier. Court is now in session, so I am the world's worst lawyer, and I need to support Ashley and Andrew as much as I can, or as you guys probably know them, Andy and Laylee. The defendant will be represented by public attorney Jim Brimstone, which is me. Mr. Brimstone, I understand your client is pleading not guilty to the charge. That is correct, Your Honor. I am the devil then, I imagine. Very well. Miss Connors, what is the state's case against the defendant? We believe that Austin and Lila Groves, right, okay, are guilty of first-degree murder and acts of cannibalism involving their neighbour. That's all stuff that they did. What am I meant to be doing here? Like, it's quite difficult. I mean, they're all very much so. I mean, all they need to do is play The Coffin of Andy and Laylee, and every bad thing they've done is in this freaking Steam game that you can download quite easily. The two of them were found yesterday afternoon in their neighbour's apartment by the police after they received a noise complaint. When they entered the apartment, the two suspects were covered head to toe in the victim's blood. Objection! Speculation! How do you know it was blood? It could have been tomato ketchup, like it never is. We literally had it tested. Their clothes had blood from the victim on them. How are you so sure? Did you taste it? How did you know what blood tastes like? What? No, we had our machines examine it and matched it with our DNA database. Oh, so you're just trusting a narrative from a vampiric cyborg now? The judge has to freaking trust the literal devil, and Andrew and Ashley looking quite horrifying here. Why have they got extremely serious faces? Your Honor, I'm going to request a motion to dismiss the DNA evidence. We cannot allow vampiric cyborgs to get in the way of serving justice in this ritual. Mr. Brimstone, why have I got 3 hearts, or you've got 3 hearts, sir? If the substance found on the suspect wasn't blood, then what do you believe it was? Ketchup? Pasta sauce? Should I just say blood? Yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna say blood. There we go. So you admit it was blood, then you admit your clients are guilty. Oh no, right, okay, brilliant. I've got 1 heart left. Oh, it was pasta sauce. These little goofballs are just making dinner for their neighbour, isn't that right? Oh yeah, we're making a lot of spaghetti. Well, we also found a knife lodged into the victim's body with both Austin and Lila's fingerprints on the handle. The victim's body had a large stab wound in her abdomen area. They had to cut the pasta with a knife, very much so what normal people do. The knife slipped and landed on the freaking woman's, or no, the person's abdomen. We don't know their gender. Objection, irrelevant. If the knife had their fingerprints on it, that does not mean they used it on the neighbour. They could have just used that knife to chop the tomatoes for the pasta sauce for all we know. There we go. The tomatoes, not the pasta itself. Mr. and Mrs. Groves, where were you at the time of the victim's death? We were in the room, we saw it happen. Brilliant. God, you're really not helping this situation, guys. Come on now, she invited us over for lunch yesterday. We got to work and later on, altercation issued. Things got a little heated and then the knife ended up in her. How did the knife end up in the victim's body? Tripped, murdered, something I have no idea what the hell means. She tripped? Yes, the victim tripped and knocked the knife out of Lila's hand, and it ended in her stomach. What? This caused her body to fall over onto the pot of pasta sauce, covering everyone. It was quite a tragedy, a loss of life, and an excellent meal. We're meant to be the world's worst lawyer, not the world's freaking best. What the hell? Objection! That does not seem very likely. Where is your evidence for this? Your Honor, is eyewitness testimony not enough? You two witnessed this occur, correct? The knife went in and liquids were flying everywhere, yes. Okay, well, let's say that they didn't murder the victim. When police arrived on the scene, Mr. and Mrs. Groves were in the process of devouring the victim's corpse. We have body cam footage to prove this. That alone should prove them guilty beyond reasonable doubt. This is true, the footage was gruesome, I could barely watch. Why are we here then? Yes, footage of my clients consuming a human corpse would be quite damning. If that is what they were doing, brilliant. Are you implying they weren't eating the victim? Indeed, that's because they were actually eating nothing, I'm sure. Oh god, I've heard enough. The jury is released for deliberation, court is adjourned. Oh no, I failed, whatever will we do? We can never play chapter 3, the jury finds a defendant guilty. Defendant sentenced to life in prison. Wonderful. They were actually eating, I guess meatballs would be the best. Yep, there we go. They're eating the meatballs that were spilled onto the victim. You wouldn't let such a delicious dish go on waste, would you? The juicy tomato paste, the aromatic basil, think of how good that must have tasted. The meat was quite delicious. Body cam footage didn't capture an act of cannibalism. They captured 2 innocent people enjoying a delicious snack. That is not a perspective I would have considered. Your Honour, clients had nothing to do with the death of the victim in this case. It was simply 2 youngsters making the best of a terrible situation. Okay then, Miss Connors, how will you respond to that? I'm at a loss for words. Very well. If that is all, then I will dismiss the jury for deliberation. Right. What? Court is adjourned. Hell yes. Let's go. The jury finds the defendant not guilty. Defendant walks free. Nice work. Right. Case 2, State versus the gambler from frickin', what's it called? Buckshot Roulette. Yo, sorry I'm late. I have like a huge hangover right now. A little too many margaritas last night. No worries. It's all good, man. Court is now in session. Our first case today is the State versus the gambler. Once again, the defendant will be represented by Public Attorney Jim Brimstone. Not guilty, I assume. Correct, Your Honour. Alright then, Miss Connors, where's the state's case against the defendant? Your Honour, the state conducted a police raid at an underground nightclub last week. At the establishment, there was a plenitude of illegal activities occurring, such as drug trades, prostitution, and gambling. What about the first 2? I've never seen that before. Mr. Gambler here was one of the culprits. You could probably guess what they were doing. It was not ordinary gambling, however. He was gambling with people's lives, Russian roulette, no, buckshot roulette. They could have just been playing a harmless game of poker. Again, everything that this guy's done is very much so readily available on this free game on this website called itch.io. Pretending that I didn't say that, a photograph taken of the scene clearly displayed a gun on the table. Russian roulette is typically played with a revolver. There wasn't a revolver, there was a 6-shooter? No, there was a shotgun. There was actually a shotgun. It was a shotgun. You can't play Russian roulette with a shotgun, therefore that's not what occurred. Actually, you can. There's a special system involved by using blank shells. So you admit it, using the gun to take the lives of others is a form of gambling? Of course not. My client was simply showing off his vintage collectible to his... Yeah, I totally was lol. Dude. Whoops, me and my big mouth. So you're meant to using the shotgun in a variant of Russian roulette. Is there a reason you don't use a standard revolver? I like the higher stakes. It's much harder to survive a point-blank shotgun blast. No grey area, you're either dead or you're not. How many lives have you claimed with this sick, twisted game? 0, Your Honour. My client has never killed anyone before. Really? Correct me if I'm wrong, but pointing a gun at someone and shooting sounds like a murder. Not if they're blanks. Indeed, if Mr. Gambler does this for a living, then that would make him a serial killer. How is this not murder? A skill issue? Let's go. No, never mind. How is skill involved? Wouldn't that defeat the whole point of gambling? Luck issue then, yes. Quite simple. It's an issue of luck, Your Honour. My client does not pull the trigger with the intent to kill, only to see the desired outcome. He is merely a vessel for the will of the universe. This is clever, actually. I like this. Besides, those who participated in the game signed a waiver beforehand. They knew what they were getting into. Therefore, my client is not liable for the deaths of others. Objection! Waivers are not applicable if gross negligence or intentional harm is involved. I would argue that, as a part of the game, intentional harm is the desired outcome, and that's how you win, right? Not necessarily. You can also win by your opponent shooting themselves, which is not intentional harm by my client. This is getting nowhere. Mr. Gambler, let me ask you a question. In the evidence that was submitted, there were 4 shells found inside of the gun. Out of those 4 shells, which one did you not intend to fire at your opponent? Oh god. Shell 3? No, brilliant. I've heard enough. The jury is released for deliberation, court is adjourned. Fantastic news. It was shell 4, Your Honour. According to the evidence, that round was a blank, so you intended to fire a blank round. Is there any way to know what the correct answer was there? Sounds pretty innocent to me. Your Honour, this does not prove the suspect's innocence. He was literally running an underground gambling ring that actively involved the deaths of other people. Dozens, possibly even hundreds are dead because of this man. Not from specifically me, though. That's not for you to decide, Miss Connors. I know, it's just... Mr. Brimstone, do you have any other evidence you would like to present? None, Your Honour. I rest my case. Very well. The jury is now dismissed for deliberation. Fair enough. Court is adjourned. Yep, of course. Somehow, we're actually getting these guys to freaking go freely. Brilliant. So then they called me a week later and were like, dude, all of my limbs are gone, what the hell? And I was like, damn, hope you have insurance because that will cost you an arm and a leg. Brilliant. Well, dude, that's insane. They don't have a literal arm and a leg to give you, mate. Yep, anyways, that's how I lost my law license. Court is now in session. Our case today is the state versus, is it Bam Bam? Gordon O. Bam Bam, correct, apparently? Yet again, represented by Public Attorney Jim Brimstone. Been a busy week for you, Brilliant, she's just sick and tired of life. Let me guess, your client is innocent in this case? Your Honour, I believe that everyone is innocent until proven guilty. And I can assure you I will not be proven my client is guilty. That would be a bit silly, wouldn't it? I certainly will. Objection, nobody asked. Ms. Connors, you may now present the state's case against the defendant. A few today ago, the police investigated an abandoned building that was originally known for kindergarten. Mr. Bam Bam is the owner and the main mascot for the kindergarten and was still living there when they discovered him. When investigating the facility, they discovered a large facility with an underground network of tunnels and rooms seemingly infinite. There were rooms filled with scientific equipment and lots of large containers of a substance called dudavanium. This is not something that should be directly under a school for children. Objection irrelevant. How can you be certain the kindergarten and the facility are connected? Murals of Mr. Bam Bam and the other mascots for the kindergarten were plastered across the facility at every turn. It was almost comical how related the two were. That is very odd. Why would there be such a large structure under this kindergarten? It's a playground, mate. It was just a large playground for the kiddos to run around in. Bullcrap, okay, that was not a safe environment for children at all. Police found large bottomless pits that had platforms which required jumps children could not make. Sounds like your average playground to me. Yep, fair enough. Also, these creatures lurking around the darkness. Investigators believe that these creatures were previous employees of the kindergarten transformed into hideous monsters. Whoa, now that's just rude. And a little bit racist, if I might add. Fair enough. Like, we're right here, dude. Miss Connors, please do not make rude remarks in this courtroom. Have some respect. Okay, let me ask you this, Mr. Bam Bam. Did you transform your employees into monsters? Objection. Leading. Objection sustained. Mr. Bam Bam, did you used to be a human? I was, yes. We all were. There was an accident with the dudavanium. What were you planning on using the dudavanium for? Infinite food hacks? Marketable plushies, right? Yeah. Marketable plushies? Correct. The dudavanium was being used to give everyone a living, breathing plushie. Everyone needs a friend, right? Imagine having a teddy bear that can walk, talk, and sing. Cough, cough, Ted. Where are you going with this? Shh, they don't need to know about the pancreases. Brilliant. Your Honour, this is ridiculous. They're obviously just coming up with these lies on the spot. That's all this bloke has done for the past few days, just lie and lie. I'm going to file a motion for a retrial. There is factual evidence of serious felonies being swept under the rug. Miss Connors, do not let personal opinions get in the way of our court proceedings. Personal opin? There is body cam footage of a suspect chasing down a police officer trying to eat him. How does that not prove beyond a reasonable doubt the suspect is guilty? Okay, what were we actually doing? Mr. Bam Bam, I see the hearts there. What were you doing at that video? I wonder. I'm gonna say wanted a hug. Yeah, that's fine. Your Honour, my client just wanted a hug. He was trapped in that facility for so long he missed having company. Yes, my client might appear to have horns and sharp teeth, but they are truly a darling on the inside. Because deep down, they're still a human. I rest my case. Okay, Miss Connors, any further evidence you'd like to discuss? I think she's just done with life. I'll take that as a no. The jury is now dismissed for deliberation. Court is adjourned. No. No? This is all wrong. The evidence in this case proves that thing is guilty. I'm not going to let the justice system take me down like this, and if it is, then I'm taking it down with me. What the hell? Mr. Connors, please put the gun... Mr. Connors, you right? Jury finds the defendant not guilty. Defendant walks free. Nice work. Case 4, State versus Connors. Phew man, what a week, huh? Surprised you weren't able to find a better lawyer. Guess you're stuck with me again. Don't worry, I got you covered. Was she shot Bam Bam then? Well, we saved Coffin of Andy and Laylee, we saved Buckshot Roulette, and it seems like Bam Bam is dead.